Do you have a dozen different hard drives scattered all over your house? Is your phone constantly telling you that you don't have space to take even one more picture? Is your Google Drive monthly bill driving you into crippling debt? These are all problems that can be solved. For me, what's scary is knowing that I have hundreds of photos and videos scattered across old hard drives, SD cards, cloud accounts, and computers that I keep telling myself I will organize someday. And the problem isn't just storing the files, it's finding them, backing them up, sharing them, moving them between devices, keeping them organized. So about 8 months ago, I set up a really solid NAS, but this new one is going to be an even better option for most people. This is the UGREEN NAS DXP4800 GT. On the one hand, it's a NAS. On the other, it's something much bigger. A storage system, editing hub, backup solution, private cloud, and surprisingly capable computer all rolled into a single box. This video is sponsored by UGREEN. They sent me this NAS and asked me to show off what it can do. They will review this video for accuracy of the technical details and specs, but all of the opinions and criticisms are my own. For those who don't know, NAS stands for Network Attached Storage. Think of it like your own private iCloud, except instead of paying hundreds of dollars to Apple every single year to fund their lavish lifestyles, a NAS is something that you buy once and you never have to pay a monthly bill for again. Better still, all of your files live locally on drives that you own. And even better stiller than that, because it sits on your network, every computer, phone, tablet in your house can access it completely securely. Apple's 2 terabyte iCloud plan is $10 per month. That's $120 per year. In 5 years, that's $600, and that's for one person. Add 2 or 3 more family members and you will see some larger figures, and you have really nothing to show for it at the end of that period. With a NAS, you buy it once and you own it. You give multiple users access to it, and it costs nothing month to month. And because the files live on hardware that you own, you're not relying entirely on a third-party cloud provider to access your data. As you can see, the GT supports 4 SATA hard drives up to 32 terabytes each, and on top of that, you can add 2 M.2 SSDs up to 16 terabytes each, so a total of up to 144 terabytes of storage. That's roughly 50 million photos, which is a lot of photos. One thing that UGREEN does right is they don't lock you into using some proprietary drive. Some NAS manufacturers force you to buy their own way more expensive branded drives, which is idiotic. Imagine if you bought, let's say, a Nikon camera and it only accepted Nikon branded SD cards, and Nikon charged twice as much money for those SD cards. I mean, it's a great business model for Nikon, but is it good for the consumer? Anyway, UGREEN has a compatibility list with a big list of third-party drives and SSDs, which gives you flexibility and saves you a lot of money. Setup is very simple. The drive bays are completely toolless. You just press the release button, pull out the tray, drop in your drive, and slide it back into place. Then when you power it on for the first time, a setup wizard walks you through everything step by step. If you can install an app on your phone, you could probably set this thing up in a matter of a few minutes. Now, where the GT separates from the crowd is speed. It uses a 4-core, 8-thread AMD processor, and it comes with 8 gigs of DDR4 memory, and that is expandable up to a whopping 64 gigabytes. So if you are managing backups, transfers, indexing photos, running apps, and having multiple people accessing files simultaneously, it does everything without feeling slow. And let me show you why that matters. Normally when I edit a project, I find the SSD that it's on, I plug it in, I copy the files, then I edit. With the DXP4800 GT, the project can live on the NAS. I can open an editing program, open the project, and start editing directly from the file on the NAS. And here it is playing back in the timeline. It's pretty impressive. The faster processor makes even navigating apps more smooth and faster. In fact, UGREEN claims that this thing can dramatically outperform cloud uploads. So let's find out. I've got the exact same 5 gigabyte video file. One copy is going to Google Drive, another copy is going to the NAS. Place your bets down below. Ready, set, and go. And that's where those dual 10 gigabit Ethernet ports come into play. They're what makes this direct editing workflow possible. Instead of treating the NAS like a backup device, it becomes part of your everyday workflow. You don't have to copy files, you don't have to juggle SSDs or wonder which version is the latest because everything lives in one location. And if you are working with a team, it's even better. One person can be editing, another person can be organizing, another can be backing up footage, all at the exact same time. Now let me show you something cool. I can dump almost 200,000 photos here, and they are all automatically organized by the time that they were taken. Beyond that, you can actually click over here to the categories and people, and you can click on specific people and pull up just the photos where they are in those photos. You can train AI models to recognize whatever else you want to recognize: pets, cars, animals. This is UGREEN's AI album assistant, which automatically recognizes and organizes people, places, pets, cars, whatever subject, and the AI processing for this runs locally, so your photos aren't getting sent somewhere through the internet to some cloud service. The recognition is all happening natively, locally on the NAS itself, so private data stays private. And if you still do want to use some limited cloud services, there are built-in cloud drive tools, so you can sync files between this NAS and Google Drive, for example. The biggest reason to own a NAS is protection. This isn't one giant hard drive. The DXP4800 GT supports multiple RAID configurations, so you can balance storage capacity, speed, and redundancy. And here's a disclaimer: a RAID is not a backup. You should still have multiple copies of important files somewhere else, backups of backups, but a RAID can protect you from a single hard drive failing. Now, there are a few other things that I want to mention because they are worth considering. First, like any NAS, hard drives do make noise. The unit itself is fairly quiet. In fact, I have it very close to my microphone during this entire recording of this video, and while the hard drives are not spinning, it stays near silent. It's very, very quiet. But if you are going to be using those hard drives and the hard drives start to spin, that noise can get a little bit louder and can get pretty annoying quickly. So I wouldn't recommend putting this just on your desk where your normal desk setup is. What I do is I keep mine in a closet, but you can find another location that's further away from you so that those noise levels don't interfere with your workflow. Second, if you've never used a NAS before, there is a learning curve. Setup is definitely easy, but you do have to understand permissions and RAID levels and backup strategies. It's not too complex, and certainly something that you can find out online and look up online, but I would say it is necessary to get at least a basic understanding. I will say that the interface with this unit makes all of it much more approachable than other systems that I've tried in the past. Third, you do have to buy the hard drives. I don't know if you've heard about AI, but it has a lot to do with why storage prices are going through the roof. A 4 terabyte hard drive will now cost around $200 US, and you need 4 of those in this unit, for example, so that adds up. And if you're looking at 32 terabyte hard drives, well, those are $1,200. Multiply it out, it's a lot of money. So you have to factor in the cost of the hard drives as well as the cost of this unit, because the cost of the hard drives can easily be more than the price of the NAS unit itself in the current environment. It took losing some family videos of us going to Peppa Pig World to make me start to take this stuff seriously. 8 months ago, I had my photos really everywhere, on hard drive, SD cards, on the cloud, in old laptops, and finding anything was a nightmare. But today I know exactly where everything is. It gets backed up automatically, and everything is searchable, which is super duper convenient. I've stopped worrying as much about losing important family memories because I know that it is right here. That's the real reason that I use a NAS. Overall, it's a great NAS, and if you are new to this, I would recommend this over the 4800 Plus that I have. In fact, I'm making the switch myself because I did notice that speed improvement, and the AMD processor is a game-changing addition. It's beginner-friendly, yet powerful enough for more advanced users who can build an entire workflow around it, and it's not just a box for storing files. It's a place for all of your photos, your videos, your projects, your files, and your memories that you can access anytime and work from with ease. If you want to learn more about it and figure out if a NAS is right for you, check out the link down in the description and in the comments. And there is also a coupon code that should give you a pretty drastic discount. I think it's a whopping 20% off. So check that out and let me know your thoughts down below. Do you have a solid handle on all of your photos and your videos and your file? Are they just all sitting on random hard drives like mine used to sit? Are you as disorganized as I was just a couple of months ago? Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more and have a nice day. Bye-bye.